Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir. Now, before I go into the summary and analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. All right, The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir. A very interesting work here. Lots of things are happening within this work. Basically here. This is talking about men and women. It's talking about society, or the woman's role within society. And I mean, let's first talk about the title. The title is it's a bold statement. It's talking about the second sex, and it's saying that society has positioned women as the second sex. And in the period that this work was written, it was a male-dominated world, and I mean, even in 2025 today, it still is a male-dominated world. Um, and a lot of things have changed. I think that this work is a feminist text, and I'm talking about first wave feminism. When we're talking about feminism here, we're talking about women having purchasing power, women having equal rights, women having the ability to enter the workforce, whether it is medicine, law, engineering, and whatnot. So when Simone de Beauvoir is talking about that, women having autonomy, freedom, the ability to produce and to seek and to search, these are all things that um, are right, equal, just, make sense. Having the ability to work, to think, to create, without any type of, restrictions. Female oppression, because for many women, for most of human history, women were not allowed to go to school, get an education, have dreams. Women were relegated to roles in the household, domestic labor, getting married, child rearing, and taking care of the home, the family, because that's how society was set up. I mean, for most people on the planet today, that's how society is still set up. Men will go out and work, and their wives would stay at home, take care of the kids, um, cook, clean, do that type of tasks. So within this work, um, the female oppression, to be very specific here, the female oppression is when culture is created and pushed to promote this idea that is what women are supposed to do: cook, clean, have kids. When the picture is that's all that women are good for, it's not a good picture. It's a very bad picture. It's a very limiting picture, and for a lot of women, it's an existential crisis because when you have the ability to think, to create, and there are, lots of genius women out there that can create, that can um, contribute to society as a whole, but they didn't get the ability to do so because of their gender. So this work talks a lot about gender. That gender is something that society creates over time, and when you're born at birth, it's male, female. I mean, we can even go biblical. Even the Bible calls it male, female. You're born male, female. Gender, it's what your culture dictates. It's what your culture comes up with and associates certain traits and certain things to different persons. So, like, because like jobs, um, a lot of people around the world, it's like you believe that women are supposed to cook. Well, that's not specific to sex. I mean, anybody can cook. Some of the greatest chefs in the world are men. Um, some men love cooking. It's not that cooking is just for women. It's like anybody can cook. I mean, a child can cook eggs. I mean, I've been cooking eggs since I was 9. I mean, like anybody can cook. Um, so it's just there's a lot within this text that talks about how society views people, and what traits we've contributed, or assigned to women, and what traits we've assigned to women, or tasks we've assigned to women, and tasks we've assigned to men. And here, the Beauvoir is saying that um, women can do more than that. They can go and create things for themselves. They can, um, you know, pursue careers and pursue things that where they can be creative, where they can show their expertise, and autonomy is the way to go. So the arguments placed here are very interesting. I mean, there are some critiques, in terms of deeper meaning analysis. There are some critiques saying that this work is focused too much on European women, educated women. It's a very broad field to talk about when you talk about men and women, because you can't just bring one country into this. You have to take into account societies all over the world. For the most part, it is a male dominated world. Most women around the world, because first of all, jobs are hard to come by. So there's some countries it's just heavy labor jobs. I mean, you can argue, in first world countries where you have offices and degrees, and people can get an education, the workplace is safe. But in other countries where it's heavy labor, grueling work, working in mines, and when it comes to a job market where the jobs are working in mines and working with tools, and there's a high possibility you might get injured or die, you see less women in those roles, and society goes back to men work, and women uh, cook and clean, and have kids. The reason why it's like that in many societies today is because that's how it began. Because I mean, going way back to the earliest civilizations, I mean, the men, they went out to work. The work was to hunt wild animals, go and hunt food. And yeah, you died. I mean, the reality is that you died. I mean, you look at specific empires in the earliest civilizations. I mean, the job for the men were, you go out, go fight beasts, for food and clothes, and for fur and things like that. Go to war, become a soldier. You were doing violent jobs where you most likely could have died. So there were not that many women that went out to go do those jobs. They stayed home and did the cleaning and cooking, because well, the probability that a woman would die in battle, I mean, it was higher. But with this work here, and with a changing society, in a much safer society, yes, it's 100% reasonable for women to enter the workforce in terms of medicine, law, and all these, let's just make it very simple, just office jobs and things like that. Um, I mean, if they want to, again, it's a free world, and in the first world, it's a free world. You can do whatever job you want. But there are a lot of jobs that are, gender specific. I mean, most construction workers, sanitation workers. I mean, you can bet that most sanitation workers are men. Mine workers, um, ditch diggers. So there are jobs that are, associated with men, or just men pretty much do these jobs. But at the same time, there are some jobs that are also considered just heavily female, because the medical field, it's dominated by women. So there are some jobs that women prefer and jobs that men prefer. So again, there's several sides to this argument. This work here highlights different perspectives. Um, it does focus more on European standards of men and women. But again, if you're gonna talk about men and women, you have to make it very broad, because it's not that men are. Because again, if you're gonna bring an oppression, it's not that men just systematically decide that women are gonna stay in the house and cook and clean and have kids. It's just, over the course of time and because of history, um, there were some jobs that if women did them, they most likely would have died. Because just think about when the Europeans got to America with going to war with the Indians and surviving in the wilderness. I mean, you're not gonna send the women to go fight bears and the Indians. Um, it's just this is a very complex idea. Um, it's not a simple thing because there's a lot of critiques of this work. It is an early feminist work, but there's a lot of critiques of it. Um, Ultimately, there's some things I think most people would agree with this work. It's not just a black and white issue. It's an issue where I think most people would agree is that women are human beings, women deserve rights, and women should have the ability to have purchase power, enter the workforce, and be a full contributing member of society. That everybody agrees with that. Um, but it's not that men or society as a whole just like systematically tried to keep women down. It's just there's lots of there's many components to this argument and to this topic here. So it's a very interesting work. Um, I don't agree with the title myself in terms of deeper meaning and analysis here. I really don't agree with the title. I do not believe that men ever like conspired to make women second class or second sex. Is just before the 20th and the 21st century existing in the world, it was survival of the fittest. Even weak men died. I mean, if you read works, you read literature from the 17th century, the 18th century, people just died before even hitting 40. A lot of women just died during childbirth. I mean, so in many societies, the strongest of the strongest men had to protect the women because there was no, I mean, until recent history, there was no shots and antibiotics and modern medicine and all these types of things that keep people alive today. So in those societies, women had to be protected because even the weak men died. Um, so it was the survival of the fittest back then. So that's why a lot of women just had to get married and stayed home because that was pretty much the primary way of survival. So again, this is a work where everybody, once looking at it, there's a lot to say. It's not just a black and white statement, a black and white work. There's many points you can look at it, but that's all I have to say about it. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.